Welcome to Let's Talk About This. This is Comic Cookie 73, and today's topic is going to be something interesting for the 40-minute time limit or beyond that this has, and it's going to be about specifically. Last topic was wrestling. This topic will be about it will just be about not wrestling again, but it will be about things that, just irritate me a little bit about wrestling fans. I know this seems weird, me doing 2 wrestling episodes in a row, but here, let's go with it. So, what irritates me the most is that people complain so much about ticket pricing and this and that, and why go to the show if you just hate the company? It seems like a simple solution, and with a very simple answer. If you don't want a company to succeed, don't give them your money, and that's what I don't get. If you complain about not liking it, ticket prices are so high, then stop attending shows. It's as simple as that. If they realize there's no butts in seats, they have no choice but to lower the prices. And that comes down to supplies and demand. If the demand for something is high, like WrestleMania tickets are, and any WWE shows are in high demand, there's a demand for seats. But if the demand for it is low, there's no butts in seats. The supplies of... That's a bad example, but what I'm saying is, basically it comes down to supplies and demand. If there's enough supplies, enough seats, everyone gets to sit. If they don't sell out, there's not enough demand for it, which means they don't get butts in seats. It's as simple as that. Another thing I don't get is why, especially WWE fans, like, why not push LA Knight? I think it's, why not push AJ Styles? And here's the thing. They're past their prime. They could get injured any day. Like, if a windstorm hits them too hard, they could get injured. That's just what happens when you get older. That's the reason why they don't push people past their 40s. Seth Rollins is an example. He's 39. He still gets pushed a little bit. But the same people who want LA Knight to be pushed, he's 41, and AJ Styles to be pushed, he's closer to John Cena's age, are the same people who want them to push younger stars. You can't get your cake and eat it too. You have to choose between... Just because they're 5 years, age matters. Damian Priest is a good wrestler, but he's in his 40s. How much longer do you think he's going to wrestle for? You never know. That's why they're focusing more on, like, Dominic Mysterio now, and, like, semi-younger talents, like John Cena or Cody Rhodes, even though Cody Rhodes is in his 40s, but just turned 40 recently, like a month or so ago. So, essentially, what I don't like about wrestling fans, particularly WWE, is that they complain about wrestlers not getting pushed. But I can make an argument that LA Knight is getting a push. He's just not getting pushed to a main event level. A mid-card title is still a push. It's better than nothing, That's what I'm saying. You should be happy with what you get. Just because LA Knight is not ever going to become a world champion doesn't mean that he's a bad wrestler. It just means that they want to push younger stars. Sami Zayn is a good example of them pushing an older talent, and that's because Sami Zayn is still able to go in the ring and stuff. His age isn't slowing him down yet. AJ Styles is good in ring still too, but he's getting closer to the end of his career, while Sami Zayn still has maybe 5 to 10 years left. LA Knight the same. They're only in their early 40s, 41. AJ Styles is in his late 40s. As I said, the older you are in your 40s, the less likely you're going to be this big, important star. But what I also don't get is when people, hear me out, when people fantasy book instead of do predictions. I talk about this a lot. Fantasy booking is okay, you do predictions. For example, let's say I pick who I want to win instead of who I think WWE is going to pick to win. If you do predictions that way, based who you think is going to win, you're doing predictions wrong. Predictions should be who you think the company is going to be putting in the ring. Fantasy booking is saying, I want this person to win because I want them to win. At that point, you should get a WWE job. But basically, the main difference is predictions are who you think the company is going to make win in wrestling world, because in basketball, it's not scripted, so games could go either way, and you could predict who based on who you think is actually going to win or your favorite team. Wrestling is not like that. It's scripted. Predictions have to be who you think the company is going to make win. Fantasy booking would be saying, I want this person to win because I think WWE would. That's the difference between fantasy booking and don't be upset when they lose, because just because you wanted them to win doesn't mean WWE wants them to win. And then you get all disappointed. There's no point in getting disappointed at something that you know isn't going to happen. And that's what I don't get. People got so mad at John Cena losing the Royal Rumble to Jey Uso this year. And I was like, Jey Uso deserved it. He deserved the Royal Rumble win. Why is this so hated? It's because people want John Cena to win and think John Cena is the only answer. But listen, John Cena is not the only answer, because you want me to tell you what? People keep forgetting that Elimination Chamber is also just as important as the Royal Rumble is now. Because, hear me out. Hear me out on this one before you hate. You hate on Jey Uso winning just because John Cena didn't win. But then there's an opportunity for John Cena to get the title that Jey Uso didn't challenge for in the Elimination Chamber match. Because Elimination Chamber matches now have WrestleMania stakes. So, I don't get what people are complaining about. It's there's multiple ways to get to WrestleMania now. It doesn't always have to be, you have to win the Royal Rumble. And I don't get my person didn't win the Royal Rumble. There's still the Elimination Chamber. Assuming they're even in a qualifying match. And you want me to tell you what? That's what I don't get. Why be so upset about something that's not in your control at all? Oh, they should have won. WWE doesn't care. Listen, I wouldn't either if I was a big business company. I could care less what you think. I know what's going to get butts in seats. Jey Uso, insanely popular, gets butts in seats. John Cena gets butts in seats, but he's older, and we should give the opportunity to the younger Jey Uso. And we can still have John Cena win the Elimination Chamber. That's what I'm saying. You have to think of it that way, not as, oh, he didn't win the Royal Rumble. No one cares. You want me to tell you what? And the people who complain about every little detail, like, oh, this is so boring. Tell them what's so boring about it. The match quality is better than it ever has been, and has ever been since I started watching. Storylines, I don't get why people say, oh, the storyline's interesting, not interesting. I don't care about the storyline. I just care about the wrestling. That's why I watch wrestling. I'm not watching wrestling to watch story. If I want to watch story, I'll put a Netflix show on. I'll put any other thing on. Like, I would put, like, if you're watching wrestling for the plot is the wrestling. If you're watching wrestling because of the story is not that important. If the wrestling match is good, as I said, oh, the build-up's been terrible, the stories have been very awful, that doesn't mean the show's going to be bad, so zip it, lock it, put it in your pocket. It doesn't matter. Like, if a build-up is bad, and the wrestlers you know are good, it doesn't matter if the story is bad, because the wrestling's going to be good. I don't get why that's such a controversial take, but I bet that's like one of my biggest hot takes ever, that storylines don't matter whatsoever. I could care less about the story. Sometimes storylines get me more interested, like if The Rock appears and he's like, oh, no, does The Rock stuff, and, Roman Reigns does Roman Reigns. You want me to tell you what? I honestly think that people who complain about the story in WWE are watching it all for the wrong reasons. Storylines in wrestling, yes, are important, but they're not what get butts in seats. The wrestlers themselves do. It was much more compelling, even to have Jey Uso win, than John Cena win the Royal Rumble. Even I could see that, and I would have done exactly what WWE did and changed nothing. Another thing I don't like is people, specifically WWE fans, this video, it's going to be, they complain about every little detail. Oh, there's sponsorships in the ring. Oh, this is so unwatchable. If that's what makes wrestling unwatchable for you, buddy, how do you watch TV at all? Like, the only reason why these TV shows are running is because of ads. And just because they have ads on the ring doesn't make it better. Oh, they have ads on tables. I hate that too, but does it matter? It's still a table that you can be put through. It doesn't. Oh, there's celebrities. Okay, that one's annoying and I understand that. But listen. It doesn't really matter what you think. Or I think. Or if people don't get this, if you're not in the crowd, your opinion doesn't matter. You aren't the people attending these shows. You're the people making reviews online and complaining about it. WWE does not care about you, your feelings, or your wants. They're $1 million corporations, and if you think they care about you, they don't. They care about the fans in the seats, not the fans online, not the fans who are not in attendance. Because the fans in attendance don't complain. And you want me to tell you one of the most stupid things that ever happened was people saying, we want truth after he got released. You want me to tell you why people get released? Because they have nothing for them to do. And then when R-Truth got nothing to do, people started getting upset. Why do you think they released him in the first place? Use your brain instead of what you want. Stop being selfish. R-Truth left. He was happy. He only came back because I think the fans wanted him to. R-Truth is not happy there. He's doing it for dues. I was like, he left. He seems happy about it. Yay. Yay for him. He's going to assume other things. That's the way I looked at it. And then when Karrion Kross was released, I could care less, you know? We want Kross. We want Kross. Like, Karrion Kross was not that good of a wrestler. I am sorry. I understand if it was like someone who was like CM Punk who got released. But Karrion Kross, or I mean, I would even understand if it was Gunther, but Karrion Kross, no way. No way. They had nothing for him to do. Like, it's pointless to keep people there if you have nothing for them at all. It's just basic courtesy. Like, if I had nothing for you to do, at all, would you want to work for me? Like, I'd be like, hey, you're almost perfect, but no, I don't. I got nothing for you to do, but I'll keep you in the company. And then, you know, you might get upset we don't use you, but, you know, we want you in the company still just because the fans want it. You want me to tell you what? As I said, if you think WWE cares about you, if you're online, you're slowly mistaken. Because unless you're in the crowd, they don't care. You want me to tell you what? Because you are not the majority. And the same people will be like, oh, SmackDown is so boring this week. Oh, nothing interesting happened. The matches, are you talking about the matches or storylines? Because if you watch wrestling just for the storylines, I'm telling you, you should go watch a movie. Like, this is professional wrestling. This ain't Hollywood. This ain't Bollywood. This ain't any other type of wood they have in other countries. This is wrestling, not movies, not a theater. Professional wrestling. Say it with me. WWE, professional wrestling, not a movie. Storylines do matter somewhat, but if the matches are good, it doesn't matter. Like, you want me to tell you what? I hate when people complain about every little detail. Like, as wrestling fans get mad over the dumbest things. The dumbest. And I mean the dumbest things in history. I remember Carlito got a whole bunch of hate. Just for making a joke. Like, I think he went up to Io Sky, she was speaking in Japanese, and he said, I should learn Chinese. That was funny. And people thought it was about race. Honestly, if you know, Chinese is not just a group of people, it's also a language. You want me to tell you what? He wasn't assuming that she was Chinese. He assumed the language was Chinese. If I have to explain that, there's no hope for any of you at all in this world. Because if that's what gets you offended, just don't walk outside. Never watch a TV show again from the 90s, 80s, nothing. Just watch the news, brood about it all day. Like, oh, Donald Trump did this in the news this week. Oh, how terrible. Oh. If that's the kind of person you are, there's no hope for you. I'm just saying. If you're just going to sit there and brood all day and complain about politics, instead of, you know, and what's racist, what's not, no one cares. Get out. But, on a serious note, that was something minor. Chinese is a language, people. Honestly, and people were calling him racist and everything. Don't you think it's racist to assume that he was talking about her race? Isn't that more racist than saying maybe I should learn Chinese? Well, she speaks Japanese. He said maybe I should learn some Chinese. It wasn't because he was talking about the language, not because she looked Chinese. She's Japanese. It's crazy. And people get offended about something that little. And you want me to tell you what? This was crazy. People got complained because Rhea Ripley got busted open. Oh man, this was so brutal for women. That's just sexism. That's just sexism. This was too brutal. This is promotes violence against women. It was done by another woman. That's sexism. Yeah, that's what that is. It's called sexism. Like, if you can't handle women bleeding in wrestling, what's the difference if it happens to a woman and man? If it's like, or a man? Isn't that a bit sexist saying women can't bleed? Yeah. It pretty much is. But in matches, pretty sexist to me. But, you know. But I'm going to say, wrestling fans also get offended by the smallest little details. And then there's like, people, I also hate people who can't separate character from reality. Like, people hate on Logan Paul for no reason. Oh, he's so terrible. Ugh. And why is that? There's two reasons. People hate his politics because he likes Trump. Which, if you would just hate someone based on their politics, get a life. Because you definitely need a new one if that's all that makes you hate someone. Or it's because of that Suicide Forest thing where he recorded a YouTube video there and recorded a dead body, and then his brother lost his job at Disney, which is a valid reason to hate him. And he made jokes about the whole thing. That is a good reason to hate him, but the second one is a good reason. The first one isn't. You should celebrate. You should separate real life from wrestling. Wrestling, Logan Paul is an extraordinary athlete. I couldn't do half of the stuff he does. And that's just me giving him credit where credit's due. Like, basic stuff should be forgotten. Like, you want me to tell you what? And people hold grudges, which is crazy. But listen, no matter how you feel about anything, it's always important to know that wrestling are people too. Everyone has their own personal opinions. And you want me to tell you what? I always say, if anyone has anything to say it to me. You know, argue against any of these points. But wrestling is ultimately not what it used to be. Wrestling used to be fun. Like, it became unfun when people started complaining about every little detail in wrestling. And these same people who are complaining about a joke that wasn't even that offensive. Even I understood what it was trying to say. And it wasn't even Asians being mad at it. It was like every other race being mad at Carlito. Like, poor Carlito, what did he do to deserve that? But if those things get you offended, go outside, take a hike. That's what I'm going to say. But there's also a lot of good about wrestling, like I said last time. But another thing I don't like about, you know, now if we get away from just stuff I hate about wrestling, let's say stuff I just don't like about WWE. No more interesting match types. What happened to an ambulance match? When's the last time you had one of those? What about a stretcher match? What about a thing on a pole match? What about anything? Literally anything else. A fighter's pit. A lion's den. I don't care what it is. But if I see another street fight, I'm going to scream. Because those are the only things you ever do on pay-per-view. Where's the Hell in the Cell? Where's anything exciting at all? If I see one more street fight, just call it an ODQ match. That always gets me aggravated. Oh, a street fight. Just call it a no disqualification match. And then on one show they had a street fight, a no disqualification match on the same show. Why not have a different match type every once in a while? Something original. Like Heron versus Hero is interesting. It has stakes to it. Triple H must be sitting there being like, I want another street fight. And we'll call this one Australian street fight. That's what Vince McMahon would do. He would be like, that's... I can't do that. That will hurt my voice too much. But you get the point. You get my point perfectly. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like, just book another match type. I'm tired of seeing street fights. What happened to Last Man Standing on a pay-per-view? Or something actually worthwhile, something different. I know that's amazing for, maybe hard for WWE to comprehend. But maybe something exciting for once in their lives. Yeah, that would definitely do good business. I don't know why. And another thing, what the COO said about the current CEO, it from WWE and TKO Holding Group, basically said that Vince McMahon cared about families too much. That's the reason why he didn't make enough money. And he said he was a family guy, and that was basically a bad thing. But hear me out. Vince McMahon might have made tickets cheaper, but he got butts in seats. That's what matters. You're a wrestling company. The audience participation is what makes you. If people stop going because you're outrageously pricing things, it's gonna be a kick straight. It's gonna be a kick. It will be the hardest kick to the butt they ever faced, and not just the butt, to the face they have ever felt. And you want me to tell you what? And I don't blame Triple H for anything of this. People, when something's wrong in WWE, they believe Triple H. He doesn't have that much control over anything that's not creative. He is the COO, the chief CCO, I think, but not CEO or any major position. So he has no authority over any of this. It's the presidents of the company and the top CEO and The Rock, and those people have more authority than Triple H. Triple H has, when it comes to like creative decisions, like for WWE, yes. But he doesn't have control of everything. And I think that's what people get confused. It's not Triple H saying, put the logos in the ring, put the Slim Jim on the table. It's not him saying, let's have WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. It's the people above him. Triple H has limited authority, even I understand that. You can't blame him for everything. I know a lot of people would like to, but that's not necessarily how life works. But yet again, it's easier to blame someone who's been there a long time and knows what they're doing compared to, like, people who are, like, rookie. Because you would think that Triple H would help them out a little, but no, we have no such luck. But overall, I think another thing I don't like about WWE now is simply 5 matches on pay-per-views is very too little. Like, too little. It's like too little. And that's another thing people complain about, which I understand. But people are also complain about, too, that, hey, I wanted this match on the show, it should be on the show. But you know there's only a 5 or 6 match limit per show. And that's the problem. It's not that they don't want it, they only have a limited amount of matches they put on a show now. Vince McMahon had 10 matches, which is too much. I think there's a sweet spot which would be like 7 or 8 matches per show. And having shows be 4 hours or like 3 hours and 30 minutes. I think that would be better than, you know, cutting a match short. 4-hour pay-per-view ain't that long in the grand scheme of things. I have nothing better to do. I have 4 hours to watch wrestling. But Vince McMahon did crazy. There was like 6-hour wrestling shows. I remember one time WrestleMania was like 8 hours altogether, including the kickoff show and the main show. So there's a sweet spot there. And having 8 matches and making it 4 hours, I feel like will make the show better. You have more times for each match to go, including the main event. You have more matches on the show, so you could have the tag team titles, maybe the intercontinental, maybe a mid-card title. 5 matches is just too limiting. But the problem is, if you pay to attend the show, you're helping them. You're helping the cause. Even, I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, wrestling shows are the best thing. I want to go to one. Yes, I like current day WWE too. I think it's good. And I think, honestly, but I don't see why that particular any of this stuff is necessarily important to a wrestling fan. This is where I'm going to end this episode. Goodbye.